Vande Jagadgurum. Krishna Krishna Krishna. Shloka 56, Adhyaya 2, Shloka 56. Bhagavadgita Chapter 2, Shloka 56. I will chant each line. Please repeat. Dukkheshvanudvignamanaha Sukheshu vigataspruhaha Vitaragabhayakrodhaha Sthitadhirmuniruchyate. We are looking into this shloka. We have seen the first line, Dukkheshu anudvignamanaha Sukheshu vigataspruhaha. The second line, Vitaragabhayakrodhaha. It includes three features of asthita prajna. Three features of a jnani. Vitaragaha, Vitabhayaha and Vitakrodhaha. Vita should be connected with Raga, Bhaya and Krodha. They are collectively mentioned as Vitaraga Bhaya Krodhaha. Vitaragaha. Raga means attachment. We use the word attachment in the sense of a clinging to something that we possess. Holding on to something that we possess is called raga. Raga and kama, they are not very much different, yet we can make a distinction between the two. Kama means desire. What is desire? If we do not have something, we have desire for the given object. If I do not have something, I can have a desire for that object. It is called kama. Whereas raga, attachment, means I have something and I am emotionally holding on to the object. I am not ready to lose the object. I cannot even think of losing the object. When I say object, It is not necessarily an inanimate object. It can be another living being also. It can be a relation also. Any of our relatives. Sometimes we can have raga. Son or daughter or spouse, mother, father, friend or pet. Even with them we can have raga. And most often we call it love. But generally it is not love. Instead it is attachment. How do you distinguish between love and attachment? When there is attachment, there are expectations. When there is attachment, there is dependence. Attachment is characterized by dependence and expectation. You love your son. Love your son. You might also have expectations from your son. Your son should behave in a particular way. Your son should behave the way you expect him to behave. If he does not do what you expect, if he does not fulfill your expectations, then you are annoyed. And if it happens too much, he never fulfills your expectation, you start hating your son. Raga becomes a dvesha. Attachment turns into hatred. That is why raga and dvesha, they always go together. If I have raga towards someone, at any point of time, it can turn into dvesha. When my expectations are not fulfilled, I can start hating the person. That is raga. Raga is always conditional, whereas love is unconditional. When you really love someone, you do not expect anything for yourself. Instead, you are just a well-wisher. You just wish good to the other person. That is love. Raga is always unhealthy. As long as there is raga, there is samsara. As long as there is raga, there is dvesha, hatred. this jnani, sthita prajnaha, he is vitaragaha, free from attachment. He doesn't have attachment to anyone. He does not expect anything from anyone. But in the meantime, he is not indifferent. A sthita prajna does not have attachment. Then one might as well ask, is he indifferent? He is not indifferent, because later on Krishna himself will describe a jnani as a well-wisher of everyone. A jnani is everybody's well-wisher. Sarvabhuta hite rataha. He is a well-wisher of everyone. Therefore, freedom from attachment does not mean indifference. A jnani wishes good to everyone. He may try to help everyone as much as he likes. In the meantime, he does not develop emotional dependence on anyone. He does not cherish expectation from anyone. That is vitaraga. Vita bhayaha, free from bhaya, free from fear, free from insecurity. Most often, what bothers us is insecurity. What will happen to me in future? This thought bothers almost every one of us. That is why we keep on accumulating. Accumulating wealth. And we accumulate in such a way that we never think of giving the wealth, contributing in the interest of the society. It is because of insecurity. A jnani is free from insecurity. Vita bhayaha. Because he is aware of his nature, which is free from all loss and destruction. A jnani knows that his self is free from destruction, free from loss, free from attacks, injuries. He is eternal, avinashi, अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः. A jnani is aware of such nature of the Atma. Therefore, Vita Bhayaha and Vita Krodhaha, free from Krodha. Krodha literally means anger. Anger is just an expression of hatred. Therefore, we should understand Krodha as hatred, grudge. Vita Krodhaha, free from Krodha. Just like he is Vita Ragaha, he is Vita Krodha also. If he is not having Raga, absence of Raga also implies absence of Krodha, absence of Dvesha. Vitaraga Bhayakrodhaha Sthitadhir Muniruchyate. He is a Munihi, Mananad Munihi. Muni means a Jnani, one who makes use of his mind is Muni. All of us make use of our mind. What is the speciality in a Sthita Prajna? He has made use of his mind properly. He has made proper use of his mind by getting Atma Jnana. Therefore, he is called Muni. Munihi Sthitadhihi Uchyate. Such Muni, such Jnani is called Sthitadhihi. Sthita Prajnaha. Sthitadhihi is another word for Sthita Prajna. Shloka 57. I will chant each line. Please repeat with your microphones off. Yas sarvatra nabhisnehaha tat tat prapya shubhashubham. Nabhinandati nadveshti. Tasya prajna pratisthita. So, from this verse onwards, Bhagavan is using a line to describe Sthita Prajna. Tasya prajna pratisthita. This line will be repeated in following few verses. In following few verses, similar line will be repeated. Tasya prajna pratisthita. Tasya means his prajna. Prajna means knowledge. And here, in this context, prajna means Atma Jnana, self-knowledge. Pratisthita, established. His knowledge is established. Establishment of knowledge. assimilation of knowledge. Knowledge, the Atma Jnana, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, I am infinite, I am not the body. This understanding, when we listen to Vedanta, it is not difficult to get this understanding for a while. For a while, everyone understands this. When we expose ourselves to Vedanta. But unfortunately, it does not get established so easily. When we are into the transaction, when we are interacting with the world, we often lose sight of the truth. We often lose sight of the knowledge. That means prajna is not pratisthita. Knowledge is not established. Knowledge is not assimilated. Therefore, it is necessary to make effort to establish the knowledge in our mind. Now Krishna describes whose knowledge is established. The first 3 lines of the shloka describe whose knowledge is established. Or when can you say your knowledge is established? Yas sarvatra anabhisnehaha. Sarvatra anabhisnehaha. A jnani, a sthita prajna is sarvatra anabhisnehaha. Abhisneha. Abhisneha means sticking like a glue. Clinging. We cling to so many things. And Shankaracharya says, clinging to our own body, clinging to our own appearance. Even appearance, with one's appearance one can have abhisneha. I should look good. One can have a strong attachment to one's own good looks. If one hair turns grey, I am miserable. It is abhisneha to my own body. An intense attachment to my youthful appearance, my youthful body. Because of that, if one hair turns grey, I start crying. I have a few sleepless nights. It takes me a lot of time to accept that I am becoming old. Many people are not ready to accept the fact that they are getting old, because getting old means losing one's youth. We don't want to lose it. We don't want to lose the youth of the body. That is abhisneha. And we don't want to lose our life. Nobody wants to die. Everyone thinks he is going to live eternally. It is another abhisneha. Deha jivanadishu abhisneha. Clinging to one's body, one's youthfulness, one's life. It is abhisneha. It is different from raga only in the sense that it is much stronger than raga. It is a strong attachment. And this kind of attachment happens to things that we consider our own self and our own quality, like our youthfulness, etc. Sarvatra anabhisneha. A jnani is free from abhisneha. He is free from clinging to anything, including his own body. He is ready to lose the youth of his body. He is ready to lose his hair. He is ready to have grey hair. I am just giving some examples. And also he is ready to lose his life. He is not attached to life also. A jnani is not attached to life, and he is not attached to death also. A jnani will not say, I want to die as early as possible. I want to die, he will not say. In the meantime, he will not say, I want to live long. He does not die, he doesn't want to die early, and he does not even want to live long. That is what Shastra says about a jnani. Na jivite maraneva gridhim kurvita. Do not have desire either for life or for death. Instead, accept all that comes as it comes. If it is my prarabdha to die early, well and good. I don't mind dying early. I am ready to lose my body. I am ready to lose my life. If I have to live long, if my prarabdha makes me live long, up to the age of 119, perhaps that is the oldest person who passed away just 3 days back. 119 or 120 years even that is okay. I don't mind living 120 years if that is my prarabdha. That is what a jnani will say. So that is lack of attachment even to one's life. Sarvatra anabhisnehaha tattat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tattat shubhashubham prapya. A jnani will also live like any other person in the world. And his own karmas, his own prarabdha will present him pleasant and unpleasant things in life. Shubha, Ashubha. Sometimes there might be Shubha, pleasant events in life, pleasant things happening in life, and sometimes Ashubha, unpleasant things in life, unpleasant happenings. Madhusudana Saraswati explains this Shubha and Ashubha. When someone honors me, when someone garlands me, it is Shubha for me. I am honored, I am garlanded, I am felicitated. My name appears in the newspaper. It is Shubha. It is a good news for me. Shubha is a good news. And then what happens? If I hear the good news, Abhinandati, I jump with the joy. It is Abhinandati. I jump with the joy when there is a good news. Whereas there can be Ashubha. The Shubha is generally followed by Ashubha. Any Shubha is like that. Any good news is generally followed by a bad news. May not be immediately. It may take some time. But there is good news and there is bad news also in life. So when there is good news, we should not forget that this good news will keep coming every day. Anytime there can be any form of bad news. So what is the bad news? One of the bad news is that another person, my friend, becomes successful in life. My friend is honored. He is garlanded. Then what happens? We have a natural impulse called envy, Irshya. This person does not tolerate the progress of his friend. Irshya, envy. It is Ashubha. It is a bad news for me. My rival, my friend who is also my rival, he becomes successful. It is an Ashubha. And when there is an Ashubha, my natural inclination is to hate it. Dvesha. I hate the person and I hate the news also. Dveshti. He hates the news. He loves the good news. When the good news comes, he jumps with joy. And when the bad news comes, he starts hating and complaining. A sthita prajna is free from both. When the good news comes, he does not jump with joy. He just accepts it. If someone honors me, if someone facilitates me, who does he really honor? Who does he really garland? He cannot garland my Atma. He can only garland my body. And my body is not myself. The body is anatma. Therefore, the news that someone is going to garland me, on this news, I don't have a reason to rejoice. I don't have a reason to jump with the joy. So, nabhinandati. He does not get overjoyed. And ashubham prapya nadveshti. If someone else is successful, I don't have any reason to hate it. Instead, let me be happy that someone is successful. A jnani sees himself even in his rival. The same Atma is present even in the rival. If he is doing something good and he is successful in that, I have no reason to feel envy. Instead, let me appreciate it. That is what a jnani thinks. So, nabhinandati nadveshti. Tasya prajna pratisthita. Such a person, his knowledge is established. These are some indications of sthita prajna. When these things happen in me, I can understand that I am becoming a sthita prajna. '58. Yada samharate chayam Kurmonganiva sarvashaha Indriyanindriyarthebhyaha tasya prajna pratisthita. So, this is about mastery over the senses. The senses have a natural tendency to behave impulsively. That is why in Kathopanishad, the senses, the indriyas are compared to horses. The senses are compared to horses. The body is compared to a chariot, a ratha, whereas the senses are compared to horses. If the horses are not disciplined, then the chariot can never go in one direction to its desirable destination. The chariot may end up going to a wrong place, or it may not go anywhere at all, because five horses, they will pull the chariot in various 5 directions, different directions. Therefore, if a chariot has to move in a proper direction, if a chariot has to reach its desirable destination, then the horses should be disciplined. Likewise, if one has to attain moksha, then he should have disciplined senses. It is called Indriya Nigraha, mastery over the senses, having disciplined senses. How do the disciplined senses behave? Bhagavan gives an example. When the senses are disciplined, you can make use of them when you want, and you can withdraw them when you choose to do so. That means the functioning as well as the withdrawal of the senses are in your hands. You do not become a slave of the senses. Instead, you become a master of the senses. The senses do not take you for a ride. That is mastery over the senses. This jnani, this sthita prajna, even before he became sthita prajna, he has cultivated mastery over the senses, because otherwise he cannot become sthita prajna. And after becoming sthita prajna, the mastery over the senses continue to exist. because he has already accomplished the mastery and they are with him without any effort. They have become, the mastery over senses has become his second nature. Bhagavan explains such disciplined senses with an example. He gives the example of a turtle. Kurma. Kurma means a turtle or a tortoise. You know how a tortoise behaves. The tortoise has a shell. His body is covered with a shell at its back, very hard shell, very protective. When the tortoise senses danger, then it withdraws all its limbs. Four limbs and its head also. Even the head looks like a limb. It can be projected outside and pulled inside. That is a tortoise head. So when it senses danger, it withdraws all the senses, all the limbs and the head, and everything is under the shell. Then you cannot see the limbs and the head. You can only see the shell lying on the ground. But when it feels it is safe to move ahead, once again it projects the limbs out. Once again it projects its neck out and starts moving. Likewise, a sthita prajna, he has mastery over his senses. Therefore, when he wants to withdraw the senses, when he feels that using the senses in a given situation may not be desirable, he just withdraws the senses and remains quiet. On the other hand, when he feels that there is an occasion in which he has to make use of his senses, he will just make use of them without getting disturbed, without being impulsive, without being a slave of his senses. He allows the senses to work on their respective functions. See the verse. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani va sarvashaha indriyani indriyarthebhyaha kurmaha angani iva. Kurmaha, a tortoise. Angani iva. Just like a tortoise withdraws its anga, its limbs, likewise, Ayam, this person, this jnani, yada sarvebhyaha indriyarthebhyaha, from all indriyartha, Indriyartha means sense object. From all the sense objects, he withdraws the senses. Samharate, Indriyani samharate. Sarvashaha, Sarvashaha Indriyarthebhyaha. From all sense objects, he withdraws the senses. That means he has the ability to withdraw the senses and he does not allow the senses to behave impulsively. Tasya prajna pratisthita. Such a man, such a person, his prajna, his knowledge is well established. 59. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya parandrishtva nivartate. Mastery over the senses and mastery over the mind. These are two things that we keep talking about repeatedly in the study of Vedanta. Mastery over senses is called Dhamma, Dhammaha, and mastery over mind is called Shama, Shama and Dhamma. These are two important qualities in the pursuit of Atmajnana, in the pursuit of moksha. Shama and Dhamma. And Krishna says, a jnani has absolute Shama and Dhamma. That is what he implied in the previous sloka. He is able to withdraw the senses, means he has a very disciplined senses and mind. His mind and senses are free from impulsiveness. Now one might ask, in what way the senses and mind of a jnani are different from that of an ignorant person, an ajnani? Because even an ajnani can discipline his senses. He can also discipline his mind. There are many people who do not come to jnana. They do not study Bhagavad-gita. They do not study Upanishads. But they lead a disciplined life. They might as well do lot of fasting, lot of austerities, and to some extent they even torture their body. there are such practices. Don't they discipline the mind and senses? Don't they keep the mind and senses under check? Why it has to be a jnani? In what way jnani's mastery over mind and senses is different than those people? In fact, those people who undergo various austerities, they seem to have better discipline over mind and senses. One may raise this objection. Then Krishna says, yes, the people who perform various austerities, even they will have discipline over mind and senses up to certain extent. But then, as far as jnani is concerned, there is a difference. The other people, when they perform various types of austerities, they might as well go to Himalaya and sit in a cave and perform austerities. They keep their mobile and TV and radio and computer away. They eat simple food, survive the heat and cold, extreme weather without wearing proper winter clothes. They may suffer such mortifications. And such people definitely cultivate some discipline over their mind and senses through such mortifications, through such austerity. Despite all such things, despite all such practices, the root of the desires remain intact. What is the root of the desires? It is ignorance, self-ignorance. Despite austerities, as long as the ignorance remains intact, one cannot be totally free from desires. As long as one is not totally free from desires, the mastery over mind and senses is not complete. Therefore, the total mastery over the mind and senses presupposes freedom from desires. And the true freedom from desires is possible only with Atma Jnana, only with self-knowledge. It is not possible with any amount of austerities, any amount of mortification. One may go to Himalaya and live only on grass and roots and fruits for 100 years. Yet, as long as one is not having Atma Jnana, the root of the desires are very much intact. Therefore, any amount of austerities do not make any sense until one gets Atmajnana. Therefore, Krishna says, Niraharasya dehinaha vishaya vinivartante. Niraharasya dehinaha. Nirahara. The word Nirahara can be interpreted in two ways. One is one who does not eat food. He is fasting. Fasting implies all types of austerities. He does various forms of austerities to gain mastery over his senses. Then Vishayaha Vinivartante. His senses become free from sense objects. The sense objects go away from his senses. That means he gains certain amount of mastery over his senses. Niraharasya. When he is not eating food, means when he has certain types of austerities. Another meaning of the word Niraharasya is when he does not allow himself to perceive the sense objects. He closes his eyes, withdraws his ears, and sits in meditation. He does not allow his senses to go out. He forces his senses to remain inactive. Such practices are done by some yogis. They just close their sense perception. As long as they are sitting in meditation, their mind is not disturbed by the sense objects. Vishaya vinivartante. But that does not mean they are free from desires. Rasavarjam. Rasavarjam. Rasa means raga, desire. The desires do not go away. Despite sitting in meditation for hours together, if he does not have jnana, he is not free from desires. The desires are still there, and they might surface any time. When he is out of meditation, when he gets into transaction, all the desires emerge once again. Therefore, what is the way to be free from desires? Rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Asya rasaha api. Rasaha, raga, desire or attachment. Here desire and attachment can be understood together when Krishna says rasaha. Rasaha includes desire as well as attachment. Param drishtva nivartate. Param drishtva. When the para means Paramatma, Brahman, is understood. When Brahmajnana happens, then rasaha api nivartate. Even the rasa, the desire also nivartate, goes away. Therefore, a jnani's shama and dama, jnani's mastery over his mind and senses is special because he does not even have the root of the desires. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.